change the duration on this spreadsheet and watch what happens. If I change that to 2 days, click away, the Gantt chart or the timeline, whatever you want to call it, reacts and displays a 2-day duration. I'll put that back to 5 and then it will increase to 5 days. So hi guys, welcome to this video in Microsoft Excel. My name's Steve. What I want to do is recreate this little timeline for you directly below the one that you can see on the screen. So what I'll do is I'll just copy these dates and then I'll delete them off. So if I just copy that and push it down underneath, so we're down here, and then I'll just show you basically what I've done there. So in this cell, there's just a formula that's looking at C18, this date, and adding it onto the duration and then knocking a 1 off it so you get a more accurate date. Otherwise you get an extra square being filled in. So that's the actual little table, and when you change that, you can see the time or the date is changing at the end. So that's all that is doing. Now to do the timeline or the Gantt chart is slightly different, and I'm going to use an if and statement. So if I just click into one of these cells so you can see that, I'll just copy this out so you can actually see it on the screen. Just copy it from there, Control C copy, click the edit, and then I'll just stick that above so you can see what I'm going to do there. So that's basically what the sort of formula that you need to do, and then the ones and zeros are going to be the triggers for the colors on the actual timeline. And I'll just do it on this first example, this first row. You can see there that I've got like a status bar for set is complete. So that's just looking at this data there. If I click onto that cell, it says equals D9, which is this. And if I just highlight this so you can see how I've done it, if I go into Conditional Formatting, Manage Rules, and just edit that rule. Basically, I've set this to number, it showed the bar only, otherwise it would show the same numbers as in that column. And I've set that maximum to 100. I didn't use the percent option because these aren't actually in percentages, they're just typed numbers. And then you get the figures reacting up to 100. If I click OK to that and OK to that, that's how I've done that status. Back to this. So I'm going to start there, and I need to do a formula, the if and formula. So for those who are not sure what the AND function does, the AND function returns a true or false argument. So result, not an argument. So if I just do an AND, if I just put a 1 and a 1 there. So if I go equals and, press the tab key. So if that equals 1, comma, and that equals 1, if both of those are true, it will return true. If I just tick that, it comes back with true. So if I put one of those to 0, it will go false. That's what the AND function does. Now, the if statement, if you're not sure about how the if function works, it's this, equals if, press tab key to get the bracket. If that cell equals 1, comma, I'll just put a word in there. And if you put a word in there, you've got to put it inside quotes like that. So great, comma, not great. Like so. Close the bracket, click the tick. So that's the if. So that's saying great. If I put a 0 there, it'll say not great. So that's what these two functions are doing. Now, the restriction with a simple if is that you've only got one test. If 18 equals 1. If you put an and with it, you can have multiple tests. And that's what I've done there. So these are looking at the dates. One is saying if it's greater than a certain date or less than a date. But what I have to do before I do any of this is put some dates across the top of here so we can have a cell to look at. So if I just copy these dates, some of these dates from above, let's grab a few of them, copy, down the bottom there, paste. So I've got some dates. So underneath that, I'm going to do this if and I'm going to do the if and in this cell. So let's start it off with equals if, press tab to open the bracket, and then you do and press tab again, so you can have multiple tests. So I want to know if that cell is greater than or equals to B18, comma, and if that cell is less than or equals to D18, that's the and, close the bracket on the and. Back to the if, you can see you're on the if because the help underneath comes up. We're still on the test, so that's the test, comma. Now we're on what we want to do if it's true. I want it to say 1, comma, 0. So 1 if it's true, 0 if it's false. Close the bracket on that, click the tick. So I should get a 1. I do get a 1. So that's worked. Now, what you do is you just repeat the process across for all the dates. I need to dollar sign some of these, otherwise you're going to get inaccurate cell references. But what I want to do before that is just show you how I've done this conditional formatting. So obviously it's going to be triggered by a 1 or a 0. So basically, if I go into conditional formatting, manage rules, new rule, it's basically come down. So format cells, if it's equal to 1, I want it to color up. Format, fill, go for dark blue. OK, OK, OK. So that's gone dark blue because that is true. It's the one that's triggering that off, and it's the same on this one. If I just go into this one for you, conditional formatting, manage rules, the blue one, basically if cell value is equal to 1, go blue. OK to that, come out of that. To copy it across, what you need to do is you need to dollar sign the two columns, so column B and column D. So I'm going to do that up the top there to lock that. So the F17 can move, so that's going to cross to G17, but I need to dollar sign B18. I'm pressing the F4 function key for that, and the same with the D18, so it still looks at those two start dates. OK, and then I should just better pull that over, right over to the end. And you can see it's picking up the ones there. Now the conditional formatting, I've got the font color the same as the background color, so you can't see it on that top one, but you can see it on this one. So if I change this end date, for example, to, or if I just change the duration, let's change the duration to 5 days. Just checking that that's picking that up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, because that first date is before today. But if I change that to today's date, that should work correctly. This first date, should I say, today's date. So that's 5, that's correct. So if I just change that back to 2, that's 2 days, 4 days, etc. So that's how you do it. That's working fine now. And then you repeat the process for the rest of the rows, however many tasks you've got. You just need to play around with the dollar sign so you can pull it down and then dollar sign it and pull it across. So that's all I want to talk about in this little video, is how you can create a little timeline or a little Gantt chart in Excel using if and. So thanks for your time. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.